Okay, we are now on chapter 2, and it's everyone's favorite lessons. It's decimals and fractions, and making them into each other, taking a decimal and turning it into a fraction, taking a fraction and turning it into a decimal. Okay, I am on page 73 in your volume 1 math book. Okay, our first problem on number 2 is 0.02. I'm going to hop over here to your notes. This is lesson 2.1. Decimals and fractions. So, if you're talking about decimals, the number 1 rule is always check your whole number. Okay, is there a whole number on number 2? No, there is not, so we don't need to worry about that one. Problem number, or rule number 2 is how many decimal places? Okay, and let's say 0.123. This is the tenths. This is the hundredths. And this is the thousands. Okay. So I'm going to hop over here, and I'm going to say there are 2 decimal places. So I know that that is in the hundredths place. And I'm going to put a 100 on my denominator. Okay, I highly suggest you writing this in your notes. And then whatever is in your decimal place, you put that on top. Okay, that is our fraction for this decimal. Okay, this and this are the same exact thing. Okay, but this can be reduced. Okay, this is going back to chapter 1 stuff. What number do what factor do these 2 things have in common? I know that both of these are even, so I can divide by 2, divide by 2, and I get 1/50. This is the correct answer, the simplified version for number 2. Okay, now let's move on to, I'm going to change my marker, see if this one works, to number 3. Okay, I have 4.8. Going over to my rules, always check your whole number first. Do we have a whole number? Absolutely. And then put a fraction line. 0.8. What's my rule over here? How many decimal places are there? I see that there is only 1 decimal place. I see that that is in the tenths place. That means that is going to be my denominator. Tenths place. And then you're just filling in what is in the decimal. 8/10. Am I finished? Can I reduce this? I can reduce this. What factor do these 2 numbers have in common? We leave the whole number the same. We kind of ignore it for right now. But I know that both of these are even, so I can divide by 2, and I get 4/5. Make sure you don't forget your whole number for the final answer. There you go. Okay. Check this one. Pause the video, see if you can do it on your own, and see if you get the same answer that I do. All right? I think I'll stick with the purple. Rule number 1, always check your whole number. I have one, so I'm just going to put it right there, and I'm going to put a fraction line. Okay? Rule number 2, how many decimal places? I have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, that's thousands. Okay. 1,000. I put the number that's after the decimal up there. 25. Okay, so now we have to reduce. And if you want to put that on your notes, reduce. Always. Okay, reduce always. We kind of ignore the whole number right now, but we're working with this. 25 and 1,000. That's a really big number. I know that I can divide by 5. I know that I can also divide by 25. But you want to know what? I'm going to show you a longer way. Maybe it helps you out. I'm going to start with the lower number and I'm going to say 5. 5 can go into 25, I know, 5 times. 5 can go into 1,000. Ooh, how do I figure this out? You put it in a division house if you don't know it off the top of your head. 5 cannot fit into 1. 5 can fit into 10 2 times. 5 can fit into 0. 5 can fit into 0. 200. Can I reduce this again? Absolutely. I can reduce by 5, reduce or divide by 5. 5 fits into 5 one time. 5 fits into 200. How can I figure that out? I can do it in a division house. 5 fits into 2? No. 5 fits into 20? 4 times. 5 fits into 0? 0 times. And do not forget your whole number. There we go. Okay. This is equal to this. This is also equal to this. Decimal form, fraction form. Hopefully you can follow those rules. Okay. So I did all of the decimal ones for you on the book portion. Now we're going to skip to the homework, and you have to do that on number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on your homework form. And on the back, you're applying it to 7 and 8, and also 6 and 3. Anywhere there's a decimal, you're doing this same exact thing. So if you want to pause the video and you want to do these, so you can get them done and just work with your decimals into fractions right now, I highly suggest doing so. Okay, take a break, just work with decimals, and then come back to us when you're ready to work with fractions. So now we are working with the fractions. We are still on page 73 in your volume 1 book. We are still on lesson 2.1, but now we're just working with fractions. So let's go over here to our rules. Rule number 1 with working with fractions. And I cleared off the page, but hopefully you still have room on the page. If not, just make a second page of it. So rule number 1 is the same as before. Always check your whole number. Okay. Over here on number 5, do I have a whole number? No, I do not. So I can put 0 point. Okay. On number 6, do I have a whole number? No. 0 point. Number 7, do I have a whole number? Yes, I do. 4 point. Number 8, do I have a whole number? 7 point. Look, half of your work is done for you, so woohoo, you're halfway there. Okay, second rule. Make the denominator whatever. I always say get along with. Find a number that they get along with, or can turn into. Make the denominator get along with the tens, the hundreds, or the thousands, because that's how we talk about our decimal points. Okay, remember how many like lines we had at the beginning of the lesson, the tens, the hundreds, or the thousands? So you need to make this denominator turn into a 10, 100, or 1,000. So how can I turn 25 into a 10, 100, or 1,000? This is where you have to know your math facts. I know that 25 times something equals 100. Give you a second to figure that out. My answer will be 4. Anything you do to the bottom, you also have to do to the top. I'm going to go 17 times 4. And I'm going to say 68 hundredths. Remember, we're not reducing because we already had the reduced one. We're trying to get something with the zeros so we can put that down here. The hundreds place. Remember in our notes how many lines were in the hundreds place. That was 2 lines. The hundreds place. Now just fill in the top. 68. Okay, I'm going to add that to your notes. Make the denominator get along with tens, hundreds, or thousands. Rule number 3. Anything you do to the bottom must be done to the top. An example of that is I multiplied this times 4. That means I had to multiply that times 4. I'm going to change my marker because it's kind of fading. Rule number 4. What is your new denominator? And how many decimal places do you need? Okay, over here, my denominator was 100. I know that the hundreds place has 2 decimal places. Okay, I don't have room over there, but I'm going to draw it underneath. The last rule, rule number 5. Take the numerator, again, spelling is terrible, and put it in the decimal places. Okay, so you're taking this 68 and you're putting it in that blank right there. Okay, so let's move on to number 6 example. Let's follow our rules. Always check your whole number. If there wasn't one, I got to put a 0 point. A 0 point. Number 2, make the denominator get along with a 10, 100, or 1,000. This 20, it does get along with 10 if I divide it by 2, but 11 is a prime number and it's an odd number and I can't divide it by 2. So I can't divide. Can I multiply up for it to get along with 100? Absolutely. We don't know what that top number is yet. 20 times something gets you to 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. My answer is 5. Anything you do to the bottom, you also must do to the top. 11 times 5, 55. Following my rules, what is your new denominator, or your bottom number, and how many decimal places do you need? My new denominator is 100. I know that the hundreds place is 2 decimal places. And then, number 5, take the numerator and put it into the decimal places. My new numerator is 55. My decimal is 0.55. How are we feeling about it? Are we feeling good? Okay. Try this one on your own. Pause the video, make sure that you know what's going on. Okay. Always check your whole number. I did it. Make the denominator get along. Again, 20. I could divide it by 2 to get 10, but 13 is also a prime number and it's an odd number. I can't divide, so I have to multiply. Hmm. 20 times something equals 100. I can just cheat off of here, our previous answer. Okay, everything that I did to the bottom, I must do to the top. What is the new denominator? How many spaces do I need? And take the numerator and place it in the decimals. Awesome. Okay, this is where you need a bubble on your notes. Sorry, these notes are way full than any notes that we've taken before. 8s as a denominator. I do not like 8s as a denominator, so I'm going to give you a cheat sheet. And you can use this for the rest of the year. 1/8 is equal to 0.125. Okay? 2/8 is equal to 1/4, and 1/4 is equal to 0.25. It's equal to a quarter. Okay? 25 cents. 3/8 is equal to 0.375. 4/8 is just a half. And a half is 0.5. 5/8 is 0.625. 6/8 is equal to 3/4. And that's 0.75. And 7/8 is 0.875. Okay, I just gave you the best cheat sheet in the world. Okay. In elementary or in middle school or even in high school, they never taught me the 8s, and so I've always thought that the 8s have been the hardest thing ever. So, always check your whole number. I did it. Make sure that the denominator gets along with these. With an 8, you kind of don't have to because I already gave it to you. What is 3/8? 3/8 is 375. See? It's like cheating, but only better because I gave it to you. Okay. Now, talking about your homework. There aren't really fractions on the front, so we're going to skip to the back. And you need to do all the ones that have fractions, and the top should be finished. Okay? You don't need to do the bottom half. If you want to, you're more than welcome to. I'm not going to make you do it. All right? Now let's talk about a number line. Okay? This is halfway. This is 1/2. If halfway is 0.5, what is one more section after 0.5? It would be 0.6. Okay, so that is point A, 0.6. If you want to be awesome and put that in a fraction form, and if you want to reduce that fraction, you'll be amazing and you'll get extra practice. Okay, I'm not going to tell you the other points. Just make sure that you pay attention to your whole numbers that are in front of it. This one didn't have a whole number, it was just a 0. but after 1, it's going to have a whole number in front of it. Okay? Again, you have to do everything on the front, almost everything on the back. You don't have to do this bottom portion. Have a great day.